What's up, YouTube? This is the Federation here, and welcome to another Rome 2 replay battle. So this is the one I talked about a couple of videos ago. That is myself and Piper of Sith Clan, who is also playing as Carthage, playing against Prussian Prince, who is playing as Sparta, and Vims of the RTK clan. So as I mentioned in the previous video, Prussian Prince is the relatively famous Total War YouTuber. He's got about 10k subs, incredibly good player, and won the Scan Intel tournament. He has taken Sparta, though, in this case, which is a relatively weak faction, although they got several buffs in patch 11 that make them competitive. So he's gone for a bunch of Spartan Hoplites and a bunch of Perioikoid Peltists, with a Royal Spartan General, so actually a fairly strong Spartan build. And then he's also thrown his 6 Tarantine Cav on this flank, which just so happens to be where I am deployed. So what I realize is that this is a very weak section of the enemy line, and this is very strong. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to hold. I'm going to leave some forces here. I'm not going to charge them out. I'm just going to, just hold them here. And then I'm going to send some sword units over here to assist Piper in breaking down Prussian Prince's main body of his army. Now while this is happening, Prussian Prince runs his Tarantine Cav in range of my slingers, and I get to pick off a couple of them. Doesn't end up making a huge difference, but every little bit counts. And so I went for a pretty heavy skirmish build going against Egypt and Sparta. You expect pikes from both of them. We didn't get pikes from Sparta this time, but we got hoplites, so slingers will do just fine against those as well. So Prussian Prince is now going to start bringing his Tarantine Cav back around. Also in my build, it's Libyan infantry and Italian swords, and you would have seen the build I was using in the load-up screen. I can't be bothered to go through it now. But as you can see, I'm starting to push more and more of my infantry over here as Egypt forms their pike line. And I decided to start firing at the pikes, hoping that maybe if I can kill enough of them, I can just run straight out at the Cretan archers. So Piper is going to leave one of his Campanian cavalry over with me, which is huge because I'm facing an absolute horde of cavalry. So Prussian Prince is going to keep maneuvering his Tarantine Cav over there. On this side, Piper is maneuvering his Celtic Light Horse to try to force Prussian Prince to commit with his peltists and stretch out his line. So I'm just going to start rushing this late Libyan hoplite forward. And the reason is because it's got 70 armor, and you saw that even 6 volleys from Tarantine Cav only took down about 15 men. And seeing as this is a 300 talent unit, and these guys only have 7 ammo now, I'll take that exchange. So I see these Sobek cultists left pretty exposed, and I charge my Campanian cavalry into them, knowing they're a very light unit, and I'll get quite a few kills on the charge. As you see, the Sobek cultists did not hold up well to that, and I've engaged my 2 Samnite warriors on formation attack, and since they have such high armor, they'll last quite a bit of time. Now I've got 2 Campanian cav attacking his Ptolemaic cav. Egypt, under Vims, does get his elephants into the back of my Samnite warriors, but even with that, they hold decently well. I mean, obviously they end up routing, but it gives plenty of time for my slingers to do enough damage to render those elephants relatively useless. Now over here, we've got the main lines engaged. I've got my 2 infantry coming around. Sith Piper did a great job of just getting his infantry stuck in right from the start. And now I've brought my elephants over to counter that Ptolemaic cav. Prussian Prince is being forced back by just this Libyan hoplite and that 1 Campanian cav, because he can't really engage them, so he has to push back and try to come around at a better angle. So I thought we did a very nice job fending off that horde of Spartan cavalry. Anyway, now my elephants are able to run right through, and Egypt was only able to get 1 Cretan archer firing at them. And now all of the cav is over here, so I can just run out my cavalry and pick off the remaining Egyptian skirmishers. Now Egypt does end up getting a couple of infantry units into Piper's Libyan peltists, but at this point we've kind of tipped the balance bar to a point of no return, because as you can see, Prussian Prince and Vims have very few units left. We still have 2 full units of elephants. We still have a lot of infantry. All Prussian Prince has are these Periodic Peltists, and all Egypt really has are these Egyptian pikemen. Nonetheless, we're going to keep trying our hardest, and as you can see, they do as well. Prussian Prince is going to take his Tarentine Cav and go for my exposed skirmishers, which is a pretty big mistake by me, but then again, I don't know what more I could have done since I needed to commit my units over here. So these Samnite warriors are fantastic, even after getting hit in the back with elephants and all of that. Yes, they're down to 34 men, but they didn't end up routing. Really love them. They're basically like Saki Extraordinari, that Roman unit. 760 talent infantry. Absolutely excellent unit for just holding up the enemy. So Prussian Prince is now going to send all of his Tarentine Cav in. I'm assuming they're out of ammo already by this point, or nearly so, since they got nerfed along with everything else that throws a javelin. But since they're now engaged in melee, that makes pretty easy cleanup work for my African elephants to just come in and trample right through these cavalry. And being missile cavalry, they're not going to last long, even though Tarentine Cav are pretty well armored for missile cav. My elephants should have no trouble, and I believe, yeah, Stampede was on, so even if there was any chance they had, that's gone. So then we just chased down this last unit of Tarentine cavalry right here, and you can see we ended up winning this with quite a few units left, which was pretty satisfying considering our opponents. So here you can see the names, and I mean, obviously, you can say it was an imposter or anything, but just to be sure, I actually checked the Steam profile right before we went into this game, and it was indeed the Prussian Prince, so it was pretty cool. I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool to play against somebody that good, and obviously he was using a pretty experimental Sparta build, so I'm not saying that we're a better team than Prussian Prince and Vim, but it's still rewarding, certainly. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this battle. I'll quickly go through the different builds people had and how well they did. As you can see, Piper took very few losses. He was able to just get right into those hoplites, and swords will slaughter hoplites. Uses his elephants pretty well. Here's me. Most of the kills were my Campanian cavalry, which are just an excellent unit. Can't even stress that enough. They're so incredibly powerful. Here are the stats for Vim. As you can see, these Sobek cultists, not really worth it in the end. And Egyptian pikes obviously didn't get too many kills since we didn't go frontally. And Prussian Prince's stats. So as you can see, he actually did quite well with most of his Tarentine cavalry, and even his hoplites ended up doing pretty well. So it was this general unit and a couple of his Tarentine cav, and of course what happened to Egypt that really let them down. So anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing this battle, and I will see you all next time.